consider there is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Deva Rishi Bhutatpa Nirnam Pit. Come on, Vedant, if you're still there, let's do this one as well, one line at a time. Are you there, Vedant? Is Vedant here? Yes, he's there. Vedant, could you read this verse for us on the screen, one line at a time? I'd like to repeat after you.
Esham te bihitam
No, no,
santi.
no. This one here, the one on my screen. Deva Rishi Bhutatpa Nirnam Pitranam. This verse. Can you see it? Are you able to see my screen, Vedant?
No.
Is anybody else able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, Prabhuji. We can see it.
Okay. Vedant, maybe you, I don't know why you're not able to see. Is there anybody next to you, your parents, or somebody can help you to see the screen? Yes, no, no, yes.
Shlok.
This is Deva Rishi Bhutatma. If you go to the purport of 38 text of chapter 2, you will see Prabhupada quoting this beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam 11th canto. So that might be easier. If you got your Bhagavad Gita in front of you, if you go to the purport of text 38, you'll see a verse. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes. Can you please recite this verse one line at a time, and we can all repeat after you.
Devarshi bhutapatanu pitam pituna.
Devarishi Bhutatpa Nirnam Pitranam.
Nakiro nayatra.
Kinkaro, na kinkaro.
Nakinkaro nayamatra rushi cha rajan.
Na kinkaro nayam rini charajan.
Sarvata manaya sharanam sharanyam.
Sarvatmanaya sharanam saranyam.
Gato mukunda parihatya kartama.
Gato mukundam parihitya kartam. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all the other activities, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kingsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. Bhagavatam 11th canto, 5th chapter, 41st verse. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. What a beautiful verse and what a nice purport. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. So let's look at this nice verse today. Srila Prabhupada gives a very eloquent short purport to this verse. What I've also done is I've got the commentary today from one of our very prominent Acharya, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who have given a very nice commentary on Bhagavad Gita, which actually Srila Prabhupada does refers when he was writing. Sorry?
नाम चेंज करना
Hare Krishna. Are you you're saying that this denial process?
Okay, I thought that was, we had another class going. Okay, great. So let's look at, so as I said, in this particular part of the Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, in this section, the theme is that death generates no loss, and irrespective of the philosophy followed, therefore there's no cause for lamentation. This is the theme. Krishna is telling Arjuna, fight, 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 and he's giving some very clear idea to Arjuna that what he should be doing. So these are some comments from Baladev Vidyabhushan. I'll read the first one. Working in this consciousness is technically called Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, and detached work on the platform of knowledge. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan defines Buddhi Yoga as Nishkama Karma Yoga, incorporating jnana within itself, actually. So you see, he's giving us such a very important point that from this verse, there is a slight change in the whole teaching so far of the Bhagavad Gita. So far, Krishna was really telling him a lot about jnana, knowledge, that why the soul, cannot be killed. What is the nature of the soul? What is the symptom of the soul? Why he should not lament? Why he should fight? But now Krishna is going to give him some practical advice to all of us on how to operate in this world, how to move around, and how we should act, and where we should put our attachment and where we should not put our attachment, and in what spirit we should work. So perhaps let's have, because these are some really nice words from Baladev Vidyabhushan, I'll let devotees read it. So maybe Palika Mataji, if you're listening to us, are you able to see it? Have you got your glasses? I know sometimes your glasses are not next to you.
Hang on.
You
1
do?
minute. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
From the top, working on this consciousness.
Yeah, from the second paragraph here, one can perform Nishkama Karma Yoga.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. One can perform Nishkam Karma Yoga on one of the two levels, depending upon the advancements of one's transcendental knowledge. One who simply says jnana, knowledge, that he is not his body, performs Nishkam Karma, detached work. Such a person receives no reactions for his work because his knowledge has fostered his detachment from the work's results. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Palika Mataji, who do you think Baladev Vidyabhushan is referring to here? What class of the person is actually on this platform? This is the first level, but who's he referring to here? Who are in that class, these people?
They're advanced devotee, actually. They are the Uttamadhikari.
No, this here, Baladev Vidyabhushan is referring to somebody who's at the level of a jnana, or even a yogi, because even a yogi is able to come to the platform and completely detach himself from the material material attachment. So in this particular level, the first level, this person, all he has achieved is detachment from the work. He does not want to work. And some of the yogis are at that level where they completely do neti, 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 neti. I'm not interested in any of the material affairs, any of the material attachments. I do not even want to see the object of the senses, because by seeing the object, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that your mind will again and again go on the object. So they try to run away to the forest, they try to run away in seclusion and perform these austerities. And after a very troublesome exercise, very few are actually successful. Thank you, Palika Mataji.
So jnana.
Yes.
Only on jnana.
Correct. Thank you. Right. Let's have, who do we have today? Who do we have? Girish Prabhu, would you like to read this paragraph? And after Girish Prabhu, if we can have Usha Mataji, if you like to read the second one for us.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
However, one who has actual knowledge of Krishna possesses superior knowledge. He not only knows of his spiritual identity, beyond his body, but he also knows that he is Krishna's eternal servant. Such a person also performs Nishkam Karma, but he receives no reaction for his work because he offers the fruit of his works to Krishna.
So this is the second, thank you, Prabhu. This is the second type or the second level of Nishkama Karma Yoga or Nishkama Karma Bhakta here is been referred by Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan. Such a nice way he's presenting, you see. Clearly there is a difference, and we will see what that difference is as Prabhu concluded. Even he's also, that person was also not getting any reactions, and this person is also not getting any reactions. But in one sense, this person is going to get reaction which is going to be transcendental in nature, and that is the beauty and the difference between the bhakta and a yogi. So Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy. Let me test your memories here today. Prabhupada, I'm going to give you a hint. Let's see. Prabhupada gives an analogy to explain that how a bhakta is dependent on the mercy of the Krishna and how a yogi is dependent on his own yogic powers. He gives an example of a particular animal. Can somebody tell me what that analogy is?
Tortoise.
No.
No? Okay, sorry.
Thanks for trying, Mataji. No problem. Yeah, tortoise is can be, but this I'm talking about more relevant on the dependence of on the Lord. Let me give you another hint. Is anybody else ready? I'm going to give one more hint. And that hint is, I'll just say kitten.
Cat.
Okay, go ahead, Rupa Mataji. So tell us, what is that analogy about?
Sorry, what was the question?
The question was that Prabhupada gives a beautiful analogy to explain the difference between a yogi who's has the understanding, as we read, Palika Mataji read in the other paragraph, that he is also able to come to the platform by detaching himself from the work and come to the level where he's perfected his identity as a self, and he's not getting any reactions to the work because he's not performing any work, but he's depending on his own powers, which can let him down any moment. Whereas the devotee, Nishkama Karma Yogi, because he's dedicating everything to the Supreme Lord, he's depending on the mercy of the Lord. So Prabhupada gives an example of
Yes,
animal.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think the monkey, how the monkey's baby holds the monkey. So if we hold on to Krishna like that, no, I'm getting confused. And the cat holds the baby
Kitten, yeah.
baby kitten with the cat's mouth, and the baby kitten doesn't get hurt, isn't it? Oh, so
Yeah.
when Krishna what do you call, protects the devotee like the cat holds the kitten, but the kitten doesn't get hurt, and something like that. And the monkey grabs the mother monkey.
Yeah, so the analogy is given between, I think we had another, is it Krishnavani Mataji or Nitai Mata? Who had the hand up?
Yes, me, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Nitai Mata, go ahead.
Okay. Because the monkey, when we hold, we can fall down anytime.
Correct.
And cat is holding the kitten, and so that means Krishna is holding. There's no way we'll fall down.
Yeah, Prabhupada, like just to bring it to perspective, so the kitten and the cat part is correct. The monkey analogy is related to another aspect, but it can be related here. But then Prabhupada gives another item. He says, when the cat is holding the kitten in the mouth, the kitten knows that she's been protected by the cat, by the mother, and she won't be killed. But when the cat is holding a mouse, the mouse knows that it is the time of my death, because they or mouse or rat, whatever you call them, they run away from the cats, you know. So that, and his position or the position of the rat or a mouse is of like a yogi who's depending on his own strength, but the position of a kitten is like a devotee who's depending on the mercy of the Lord and knows that he's completely protected. Is that helpful, that analogy what Prabhupada gives? Yeah.
Yes, I remember now.
Okay,
Sorry.
great, thank you. Usha Mataji, would you please lead us into the next paragraph, please?
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Both Niskam Karma yogis are free from reaction because they practice detachment in knowledge. But the Niskam Karma yoga who aspires for Krishna's loving service is far superior. He may not yet be on the level of transcendental devotional service, but his activities will one day lead him to Krishna's lotus feet. The Niskam Karma yogis who knows only that he is not his body may, if he desire
Brahma Vidya,
Brahm Vidya
Brahmavadi, sorry, Brahmavadi liberation.
liberation, gradually attain mukti. Or if his transcendental knowledge increases because he associates with Vaishnavas, he may elevate his desire and attain Krishna's service.
Fantastic.
Hare Krishna.
So another question: who can give me an example from our scripture of a person who was initially a Brahmavadi and with no idea or conception of the absolute truth being a person, later on became a personalist?
Four Kumaras.
Sukadev Goswami.
Sukadev
Wow, wow, fantastic. Okay, let's hear. So Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami, yes, but okay, maybe Hema Mataji, could you tell us how did Sukadev Goswami came to know about the personal realization?
He heard Krishna's glorification from was it his father or from the devotees that his father sent, the sages that his father sent.
Correct. In the forest when he was wandering, because first of all, he was not ready to come out from the womb of his mother. He was there for 16 years. And when he came out, he just walked out and he walked away into the forest with a completely peaceful, completely at the Brahmavadi stage. He was on Brahmabhuta stage, which Bhagavad Gita explains, Brahmabhuta prasannatma, na sochati na kankshati, samasarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhakti labhate param. That he had no hankering, he had no lamentation, he was at that stage. But he was yet not completely right in terms of his understanding of personal realization. But when he heard the songs describing the beauty of Krishna by the other sages in the forest, he became enchanted and attracted. And immediately he had a realization that there is a supreme personality of Godhead, and that is Krishna. Somebody gave the example of four Kumaras.
Yeah, four Kumaras.
So Palika Mataji, please tell us very briefly, maybe in a minute, what happened to the four Kumaras?
Four Kumaras were Brahmavadi. There's impersonal aspect of Krishna, but when they smell the of the leaf, tulsi leaf from lotus feet of Vishnu's, lotus. Then they came personal. Then they understood that Lord is not personal; He is personal. So that's how they became completely changed their Brahmavadi to personal.
That's right. Kinjal ka mishra tulsi makaranda vayu. There is a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam in this chapter that there was the aroma which was carrying the fragrance of tulsi leaves, which were on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. When it touched the nostrils of the four Kumaras, they immediately experienced a change in their senses and had a realization of the personality of of the Lord having a personal form. Immediately after that, they were able to see the Lord and appreciate Him. Thank you so much, Palika Mataji. So these are the two nice pastimes. Now let's move on to the next. We have here Andrew Prabhu and Usha Mataji. Did you read? You did read. So Andrew Prabhu and Bhavini Mataji, any one of you would like to read? Somebody is not on mute. Could you please mute yourself if that's okay? Thank you. Do we have here Andrew Prabhu or Bhavini Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Would you like to please read us this paragraph?
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada's purport brings this verse to the level of bhakti. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness, so there is no reaction to material activities.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That was very nice. Yes, so somebody who's situated that everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness, so there is no reaction to material activities. Who can give me a verse from Bhagavad Gita which is telling us that we should do everything for the sake of Krishna? You have to unmute yourself if somebody is trying to say something. There is a beautiful verse which tells that, I'll give you a bit of a hint. You'll have to quote it in Sanskrit. It starts with whatever.
Yeah,
Yat
whatever you do,
karoshi,
do it
yat
for me.
karoshi, yat.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Correct.
ahead. You go ahead. Quote the verse, Rupa Mataji.
I can't remember. Yat
Yat
karoshi, yat
see yat
jihosi.
ashnasi, yat tadasi yat tapasyasi konteya mad uh, mad
Mat
mad
Purusha Matarpana.
Madarpanam. Thank you so much. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever charity you perform, O son of Kunti, do it as an offering to me. So that is the consciousness one has to develop at a stage where we are practicing the devotional service. Thank you very much for that. Rupa Mataji, could you read the second paragraph, the next paragraph for us here?
Yeah. Sorry.
Krishna
Okay,
in this verse, yeah.
Krishna in this verse, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Krishna in this verse has directly instructed Arjuna to fight, though his order is in the form of requesting Arjuna to fight dutifully for the sake of fighting. Actually, Arjuna's fighting will ultimately be impelled by his desire to fulfill this order of Krishna's. That is bhakti. Krishna wants Arjuna to fight on his order as his surrendered servant with bhakti detached from the results. In this way, Arjuna will remain sinless.
Uh,
Thank you,
so
Krishna.
this is the way for us to operate in Krishna consciousness. We must follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita as it is without any adulteration. And that is why Srila Prabhupada, I was hearing his lecture on second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada was saying that so many interpretations of Bhagavad Gita were available in translation, but hardly anybody became a devotee. The reason people have become a devotee because Prabhupada presented the matter of Bhagavad Gita as it is without any adulteration. And the other reason people became a devotee is because we have heard from Prabhupada that purity is the force, books are the basis, and there is another element, right? Purity is the force, books are the basis. I'm missing one of them. There are three aspects to it. Purity is the force, books are the basis. I can't remember now the third one. Anyway, so the point is, because of the purity of Srila Prabhupada, through which he spoke this Bhagavad Gita in conviction, he was able to give us this wonderful Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we will end on that note. I want to take another 5 minutes and briefly talk about one of our Goswamis whose disappearance is today. Whose disappearance is it today? Who will tell us?
Gopal Bhatta
Gopal
Goswami.
Bhatta Goswami.
That's right, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami is one of our 6 Goswamis coming in our line. At a very young age, when he was a child, he left to go to Vrindavan. And what happened is his parents had departed. And he was the son of the Venkata Bhatta and the nephew of Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, actually, who's the author of the Sri Vrindavan Mahimamrita book. And Gopala Bhatta Goswami, he stayed at his parents' place, who were really a great devotee coming in the Sri Sampradaya, and served them till they stayed on this planet Earth in accordance with the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu had told him, he much earlier wanted to leave, but he said, no, you serve your parents. And when his parents departed from the world at a very young age, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, not as young, but he decided to move to Sri Vrindavan Dham. And there he stayed in the care of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And as he was trying to travel to Vrindavan, he decided to go through Nepal, with the current day Nepal, where there is a Gandaki river flowing. And when he was taking the bath in the Gandaki river, and while he was taking the bath, he took a dip. And then suddenly, while he was taking a dip, he had about, I think it was around 11 stones or shilas, which came into his hand. And he thought, oh, what do I do with them? And he decided to, place them back in the water, actually. So then again, same thing happened, and the same 11 shilas came back into his hands. And then he took that as a mercy of the Lord and decided to worship them. And then later on, for many years, he was serving under the guidance of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And while they were living in Vrindavan, under he would take his those shaligrams under different trees on each night, because that's how the Goswamis were actually sleeping. And one time, a very wealthy devotee, he came to Vrindavan, and he was offering various beautiful clothes, ornaments, jewelries to all the Goswamis, so that they can engage that in the service of the deities they had. And at that time, we had beautiful deities of Radha Govindji, which were worshipped by Rupa Goswami. Then we had Radha Madan Mohan, who were worshipped by Sanatan Goswami. So that time, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was feeling a little bit sad that what do I do with these beautiful deity dresses and ornaments? I only have these shaligrams, and thinking like this, he went to the bed. And as he woke up in the morning, he was surprised that those shaligrams have taken a shape of a beautiful deity, which is now known as Shri Shri Radha Raman. Bolo Shri Shri Radha Raman ji ki jai. So those deities are the most beautiful deities you would ever see in the planet. The reason they are most beautiful is because these three deities are a combined form of Shri Shri Radha Govind Dev Ji, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ji, and Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. That is the reason that the beauty of Radha Ramanji is unparalleled. It cannot be compared to actually anything. It is explained that I'm trying to see if I can find exactly so that I don't get wrong anywhere. Yeah, so Shishi Radha, his tapering thighs and the lotus feet resemble those of Madan Mohan, and his slender waist and the broad chest appearing just like of that of Govinda, which is represents Radha Govindji, and his lotus face, which is oozing nectar, was as splendid as that of Sri Radha Gopinath Ji. Radha Gopinath Ji were found by which devotee? Can anybody tell me? They're such beautiful deities. Should I give you a hint? Anybody wants a hint on Gopinath Ji? Who found Radha Gopinath Ji?
Yes, please, Prabhuji.
Okay, great. So this person was a Pandit. His name had Pandit.
Srivas Pandit?
No. It was another hint. This beautiful
Madhu Pandit.
That's it. Who was that? Who said that?
Navnit Chaur.
Oh, Jai Navnit Prabhu. Yes, it was Madhu Pandit. That's right. So it was Madhu Pandit who was in the forest, which he was looking through. There were so many bushes as he was traveling, and he opened one bush, and there he saw the deity of Radha Gopinath. And today, those beautiful original deities of Radha Gopinath Ji are worshipped in a beautiful place called Choti Chopper in Jaipur. It's a very small street. How many of you have been to Radha Gopinath Ji temple? He's wearing the watch all the time.
We have.
Yes, you have. Okay. Well,
have.
if you ever get an opportunity, please go, because there are such beautiful form of the deity Radha Gopinath Ji. So that deities are still worshipped in Jaipur.
Radha Govindji, isn't it?
No, Mataji, we have all are actually four Goswamis. I'll tell you now that you've asked me the question. So Radha Govind Dev Ji deities are also in Jaipur, which was bought by Jai Singh II. During the fight of Aurangzeb, he saved those deities when the temples were demolished and the deities were harmed. So he quietly took them secretly and brought them to Jaipur, and they are now worshipped in near that what is that place? Museum, big museum, Jaipur. The palace. I can't remember the name. City Palace. So at that time, the location was slightly in a way where the king Jai Singh would look at from his window, and he will be able to take the darshan of the deities. Now it's slightly moved. So those deities belong to Rupa Goswami. Then we have Radha Madan Mohan, which are in Karoli. Obviously, that you know. They are Sanatan Goswami's original deities. Then we have Radha Gopinath Ji, which were the deities of Madhu Pandit. They are worshipped in Choti Chopper in Jaipur. Then we have also Radha Vinodi Lal Ji, who are the deities of Lokanath Goswami, which are also the original deities are there in Jaipur. And a very wonderful Gauriya Vaishnava worships them. We every time get an opportunity to go and hear from him. He's there. And then we have Radha Madhav, which are in Kanak Vrindavan. How many of you have been to Kanak Vrindavan? Anybody? This is a very
We
beautiful
have.
place called, or you have Kanak Ghati, near to the near to the Amber Fort actually. Very nice place. And these deities belong to, let me tell you, Radha Madhav deities belong to, uh, not Lokanath Swami, those are Radha Vinodi Lal. I'm forgetting the name of the personality. So these were all original deities worshipped initially in Vrindavan, and then they were brought to Jaipur. That's why Jaipur is also called Gupt Vrindavan, the secret Vrindavan, because of these deities. And that place still has, that transcendental vibration. So Rupa Goswami, Gopala Bhatta Goswami was old man with a transcendental ecstasy, when he saw that beautiful form, and he performed a grand appearance festival for Sri Radharamanji, after which he decorated them with those beautiful ornaments he had, the clothes he had. And then Shri Radharaman appeared in the most enchanting form just for the pleasure of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. You see, that goes to shows that there is nothing in this world which is not possible. Another thing I must share with you, I don't know how many of you have noticed, when you go to take darshan of Radha Govind Dev Ji, there in the Govindji altar, there is a beautiful, just a single murti of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So that deity has been seen by given by Rupa Goswami. It's a self-manifested deity of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. When Rupa Goswami was telling the Lord that I do not want to go to Vrindavan, and Mahaprabhu said you have to go. So that self-manifested deity was given to Rupa Goswami as well, and that is worshipped in Jaipur in that same altar. So Gopala Bhatta Goswami, he authored the Vaishnav Samskar book named Shri Satkriya Sar Deepika, and also assisted Sanatan Goswami and in Shri Bhakti Vilas, which Sanatan Goswami wrote. And then after staying in Vrindavan Dham for the rest of his present leelas in this material world, he entered the eternal pastimes of Shri Radha Ramanji in the Nikunjas of Sridham Vrindavan, where he served them as Shri. The name of Gopala Bhatta Goswami is Shri Guna Manjari. So some Vaishnavas, including Srila Kavi Karnapurna and the other authors of Gaur Ganesh Deepika, there is a beautiful book, are of the opinion that Gopal Bhatta Goswami is Shri Ananga Manjari, whereas others say she was a Guna Manjari in Krishna Leela, and therefore he can be understood to be both Guna Manjari and Ananga Manjari, because in spiritual world one can play dual roles. It's not like, you in Bollywood only you can see two Amitabh Bachchans, or two people with the same, that exists in the spiritual world, and there it's even more transcendental. So it was on the Panchami Tithi that in Krishna Paksha of Ashta Mas, Gopal Bhatta Goswami brought his manifest pastimes in the world to a close, and he entered Samadhi. And his Samadhi is present in next to the temple of Shri Shri Radharaman, where one can go to take his darshan and receive his blessing for the advancement of spiritual life. Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Shri Radharaman Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Any comments or questions on today's session, dear devotees?
Prabhuji, I just got an answer of your third thing. Books are the basis.
Yes.
Purity is the force and preaching is the essence.
That's it. That was the important aspect. Purity is the force, books are the basis, and preaching is the essence.
Yes.
So these were the very prominent quote of Srila Prabhupada actually. Today we had a session with our Guru Maharaj. We were hearing from him, and Maharaj was sharing a verse. Somebody gifted him, Prabhupada, a beautiful picture with a quote of Prabhupada, which once he gave, I think, and it said that don't even take your for it, not even for a moment, take your eye away from this instruction that the book distribution is the most important activity in our Krishna consciousness movement. So my Guru Maharaj was just sharing in the context of something related to book distribution, that and he was saying that how the instruction of the spiritual master is the manifestation of the internal potency of the Lord, as it is explained in the fourth canto. Prabhupada writes in a purport actually. So similarly, it's not one, so many occasions Prabhupada made it very, very clear that how dear this activity was. So of course, and purity helps. When you have the purity of the mind, purity of the senses, then it brings in itself the real essence of preaching actually. Great. I have somebody's asking, books are the basic period. Okay, yes. Utility is the principle as well. Yes, that's right. In the same line, Prabhupada did say, thank you, Nitai Mata. While if anybody has any comments or any reflection, they can share in the box, because my mind is still troubling me about the saint, the deities of Sri Radha Madhav. Deities were worshipped by who? I'm just trying to look up. If anybody has any comments or question, feel free to ask while I look up. I can't pick it up in Jaipur.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I've got a quick question.
Please go ahead,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
thank you. Prabhuji, it is relating to actually what was presented yesterday, but I think it's carrying forward. So yesterday, Prabhuji said, and even in your lecture today, you mentioned about Dharma Yoga, which means Krishna is saying to Arjuna, it is your dharma to fight because you are a Kshatriya, and hence you should fight. And because regardless of thinking about anything, you should fight because that's your dharma. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference between dharma and karma?
Okay, very nice question, Mataji. So, Mataji, dharma is something which cannot be changed, in the sense, once it is allocated, it is allocated. So, Prabhupada gives this very simple example that the dharma of um, sugar is to be sweet. It's not that if you want sugar in the milk, if you put a salt, you'll get the sweetness. You won't, because its constitutional position is to be sweet of sugar. Similarly, in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Save pumso paro dharmo yato bhakti adhok sache ahituki aprihata ye atma suprasidati. So that the constitutional position of the living entity is to love the Supreme Lord and to work towards that path. So that is called dharma. That the dharma of the living entity is to somehow or other please, haritoshanam, is to please the Lord. Whereas karma is so interesting that it changes very often, every second, every minute, based on the desires we have, based on the activities we are performing, and all that we have done in our previous life. So the real dharma is one which doesn't change, which is Sanatan Dharma, Mataji. All the other dharmas we hear, okay, this dharma, that dharma, they are either, Bhagavatam says, they are either materially motivated, or they are not permanent. So that is the position of dharma. So similarly, so for example, when the word dharma you use in your in the context of Krishna having Arjuna having that certain proclivity, is because his dharma as a kshatriya was to fight. So because this social orders and spiritual orders are made by the Lord, they have a certain dharma which cannot be changed. A kshatriya is meant to engage in warfare. A brahmana is meant to engage in the cultivation of knowledge and teaching other people, and like that. So these are things which cannot be changed, whereas karma can be changed immediately. Like in a moment, if you surrender to the Lord, he takes away everything. He says, sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma suchaha. Krishna is saying, I will take care of everything, do not worry, I'll take care of all your sins, you just surrender unto me. So that's karma. It's going on life after life. We are creating this karmic cycle. But coming to Krishna consciousness, we are engaging ourselves in our real dharma, which is to love the Lord, by which we are actually, hopefully, one day be able to completely free ourselves from this karmic reaction. I hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Uh, yes, it does, Prabhuji. But then maybe I'm going to ask another one following up from that
Sure.
one, if that's okay, Prabhuji. So are we saying that dharma is the religion? Because Prabhu, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, it's your dharma, you're a kshatriya, so fight. So that becomes his religion, because that's his dharma, as in because he's a kshatriya, he should fight. And
Right.
karma, as in you've got to do that because that is your karma to do, because I'm telling you
Right.
to
I'm
do.
just gonna, one second, I'm just going to My Guru Maharaj always suggests that when you have specific words, look up on internet. I'm looking at the meaning of religion: the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. Ideas about of the relationship between the science and a religion. So here, religion is an idea, is in a concept. And I remember Prabhupada and others can correct me saying that the religion, you can say there is a Hindu religion that you can change and become a Christian. We see so many people doing that, from one religion to changing the other religion. So that can be changed. But dharma is something which just cannot be changed. It is the word dharma in real sense can only be applied to something which is eternal. And our dharma and eternity is to love, to invoke that love which we have, which is in the dormant form, towards the supreme personality of Godhead. That is dharma. So for example, if I have a kshatriya tendencies, in the next life I may become a brahmana, but I'll have those tendencies. So I'll always, whatever Krishna has created will have a certain sense of eternity to it, because these are created by the Lord. But say this Hinduism, this Judaism, all these things which have come much later, are either in most cases man-made, or not based on a eternal principle or the four sampradayas which we hear. So it is our inherent, what is the word, it it's something is there in us, it an inherent quality. Yeah, Hema Mataji is saying it is an inherent nature. That's what it is, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
just remembered now. Somehow I looked up and I found out that the deities of, because this question would bother me until I go to bed tonight. So the deities of Radha Madhav were worshipped by Srila Jayadev Goswami. Who knows Srila Jayadev Goswami? There is a beautiful pastime of Jayadev Goswami. He wrote a very beautiful bhajan. Do you know what that bhajan is called?
Git Govind.
I don't,
Git Govind.
yes.
Yes. So within the Geet Govind, there is a place where he writes, when he's writing the commentary or making a comment, Bhakti Charu Maharaj so sweetly narrates this story that, while he was writing, when his wife was there, that Krishna personally came to deliver. I can't remember in what context it was said, but Krishna personally came and he crossed off that line,
Yes,
Jadev
exactly.
Goswami. And he said, how can the Lord come personally? That can't be right. And then he went to take bath. And then Krishna and Balram came after he left, and they bought a lot of bhoga for the home, because he was just completely absorbed in devotion. He couldn't care to take care of him so much. And they gave it to his wife. And the wife was so enchanted by seeing these two little boys. And she asked, uh, what happened? Who are you, like that? And then Krishna and Balram told them that we have been sent by your husband, who actually managed to beat us quite badly. And she said, that's not possible. My husband can never harm anybody. He that's the last thing he will do. And then Krishna and Balram turned around and they showed the marks on their back of, like, somebody when you get whipped like that. There were marks on the back of Krishna and Balram. And then when they came back, when Jayadev Goswami came back, and he was there, and the wife said, why did you beat these two children? It's innocent children. They look so much of bhoga in our house. And he said, what are you talking about? What bhoga? Who can come like that? I wasn't expecting anybody. And when she narrated the whole story, Jayadev Goswami realized that none other than Krishna and Balram had knocked their door, and they came, and how fortunate was his wife to have that darshan. And immediately he ran to that piece of paper, he crossed off through that paper, and he wrote it again. Yes, the Lord can personally come. So this is another nice pastime of Srila Jayadev Goswami. And he's written that, I think it is him who's written this famous Dasavatar Stotra, which so many devotees sing so beautifully. So maybe we can sing. I'll invite my wife. I'll see on Sunday or something. We're gonna have a nice Dasavatar Stotra singing. It's a beautiful, beautiful bhajan. On this weekend or whenever I'll speak next. Let me know if that sounds like a good idea. We'll have Dasavatar Stotram.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
It is
Prabhuji.
Jayadev Goswami, right? I just want to correct myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
He
yeah,
wrote it.
Hema Mataji is saying, so that's definitely endorsed. So it is Jayadev Goswami, and he says at the end, in the conclusion, that anybody who recites this beautiful Dasavatar Stotra, he will wash away all material contamination or attachment. So Anyone who's desiring to detach himself from material attachments and attach himself to Krishna, then please join us for the next session where we're going to sing Dasavatar Stotra. Until then, please look after yourself, and thank you for coming together and dedicating your life for reading a chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. Prabhupada wrote a letter to Karandhara Prabhu once that I want every student of mine to read at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. And what we are doing, we're just following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, trying to be his obedient student, and trying to progress in Krishna consciousness. And there is a nice meditation I want to share with you coming up next month. We are launching a book of the month program, where every month we are going to read a particular book and meditate on that book and also distribute that book. So I'm going to work with the chat team to incorporate prayers of Queen Kunti in the month of August. That'll be our book of the month, where we're going to read some verses. I'll see how we're going to do it, whether extra session or something. We want to meditate on praise of Queen Kunti, and we want to distribute on Rath Yatra Day, which is coming on the Sunday, the 8th of um, August. Thank you, Mataji. My mind, Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagya Padrita. My mind is really getting old now.
Book
Like my
distribution. Book
Yes,
distribution.
yes, that's my only hope. So we are going to, on the Rath Yatra day, we're going to have a little tent or a gazebo in Trafalgar Square. And that'll be the first day where Bhakti Vedanta Manor is officially opening. All the ashram devotees coming out. And we are starting our book distribution door to door. Sutapa Prabhu is already out. He couldn't wait for another week, 10 days. He's already out. He's been let out. He's on streets distributing books. So on the Rath Yatra day, I'm going to be begging all of you. There are 45 of you. I'm sure at least 40 of you will make it, because some of you may not be close by or may not come. So this is my proposal, which I'll share more in detail in my next session. But we are planning to I will be personally begging everybody to at least help us distribute 10 books of Queen Kunti. We're going to be looking for 200 devotees, each distributing 10 Queen Kunti. This is a small book. There are people who come, they get attracted by Lord Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra, how easy it is and how amazing it is to be able to give out praise of Queen Kunti books. So we will be giving out, each one of us should be able to give out 10 books, and whatever donation you collect, it'll go towards this wonderful Rath Yatra and printing of more books actually. So that's going to be our meditation for the month of August. We will be, at least on the Rath Yatra day, we want to do 2000 books. So if you can't, well, not Rath Yatra Day, but at least we'll come up with the goal of the month, but at least we are looking at minimum 2000. You can distribute to your friends, neighbors. It's only £2.50 or something like that on one book actually. But the benefit you will have that day, if you do it on Rath Yatra, you'll get the mercy of Lord Jagannath, you'll get the mercy of Kunti Maharani, and you can collect any donation people give. There won't be any pressure. On the other days, you can just give it to your friends, neighbors. 10 books is nothing. You're going to make 10 people fortunate. So I can see Bharti Mataji likes the idea, or rather the session as well. So give me a thumbs up if you think it is doable. Just 10 books on Rath Yatra Day as an offering to Lord Jagannath. Every time we go to see Lord Jagannath, how happy will be Lord Jagannath if we could give out 10 praise of Queen Kunti. Okay, Andrew and Bhavani Mataji saying count us. We're going to do a countdown on the Sankirtan Forever group. If you're not on the group, I'll share the link with all of you. Join the group. I'm going to be putting a list. We will be adding our names to distribute at least 10 prayers of Queen Kunti and looking for 200 devotees. I'm sure many of you have raised hands. So Bharti Mataji, Namrata Mataji, Hema Mataji, Jyoti Mataji, and few other hands are up as well. That's great. So I'm sure everybody else would also want to take part in this. You will get the books on the counter in Trafalgar Square. That's where I'm going to get the 2000 books with me. So you need to help me out. And the reason I say help me out, we'll be arranging or carrying those 2000 books, and I don't want to take a single book back home because I'm living on a temporary arrangement with hardly any space in my house. I wouldn't be able to keep a single book. So when you come, please come ready to take 10 and distribute at least 10 books. Jolly Mataji is also up for it. Surabhi Mataji is also up for it. So yes, Surabhi Mataji, you'll get the books in the place. And if you can't do it on that day, you can do it on the other days actually. So sorry for going on late. I'll share more details of it, or remind you rather closer to the time. Until then, please look after yourself and keep the transcendental vibration going. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopala Bhatta Goswami Pad ki jai.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.